Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. I have a singer, songwriter, and worship leader from Richmond, Virginia, not too far from where I'm at in Virginia Beach, Danielle Remigio. Danielle, welcome to Morning Moments.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, Andy.
You're not too far, about an hour and a half, if I drive real fast, about an hour and a half from here, from Virginia Beach to Richmond, and not too far, just up the road. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do, and why do you do it?
Sure. Well, again, thanks again for having me on. Like you said, I'm a worship leader from Richmond. I am currently working on releasing my first original album. It is titled We Are the Light, and it's to be released in the spring. This has been a long time coming. I have been leading worship and singing ever since I was a very young girl. I was classically trained for years. I went to do my undergrad at Nyack College in Nyack, New York, where I was a vocal performance major. Then I realized music theory and my mind did not work well together. So I switched over to worship. And so I actually graduated with a pastoral ministry degree and a concentration in worship in the arts. And so then we moved off to Richmond, Virginia after that. And that's when I became working at a church. And I was a worship director for 5 years. And I was able to grow so much. The pastor at the church, who is one of my dear spiritual fathers, he really released me to just be me. And so through that time, a lot of my worship became this spontaneous song of the Lord during my worship sets. And a lot of my worship songs were written from those moments. And then COVID hit, and the church decided to transition into a ministry, and that ministry is called Harvest Global Network. And I am now the event coordinator for their ministry. But in the meantime, during COVID, when we were in lockdown, I was forced to sit with my thoughts, like we all were, and the Lord put me into this place of rest. And in this place of rest, sometimes it's not just kicking your feet up and relaxing. Sometimes it's becoming into that still place where you're going inward and you're realizing, being in ministry for years, there's some stuff you got to deal with, being in that rest with the Lord and being still. And so through that time, I pressed into a lot of my stuff that I was dealing with, and all of this creative explosion just came out from that place. And it came out of a place of rest. And most of these songs were written for my album from that place of rest. And so we are currently in the production process right now. And I'm recording with a studio downtown Richmond called The Sound of Music Studio. I have an amazing producer, John Morand. He's produced different bands that have come through the area, like Hanson, and he did a little Dave Matthews and many more. So it's a real fun place to be. He's taking good care of us. And the songs they all sound very different, but they all have this message that links them all together, which is our identity in the Lord and who we truly are as sons and daughters. And it's called We Are the Light, because we are the light like He's the light. Jesus says in John 8 that, if you follow me, if you embrace me, I will give you the light of life and you will never walk in darkness. And so I looked at that passage. Darkness in Greek actually means to be ignorant of the divine things. It's not always evil. It can also mean different things. And so I just feel like the word of the Lord right now that I feel like I want to release through my music and through my album is that we are one with Christ, and we don't have to wait until we go to heaven to have this intimate relationship with Him. We can have it now. And I hope that my music just beckons people into that intimate relationship with Him.
Growing up in the church, they used to refer to the song service, and you're the song leader. And there's been a transition through the years of not calling them song leaders, but calling them worship leaders, because it's more than just leading a group of people in a song. It's bringing them to worship. And there's truly a huge difference in that, right?
Yes. Mhm. Yeah, there is. Yeah. Yeah, even even just taking it even beyond just worship, it's also like our ascension, like we're co-seated with Christ, right? In Romans 6, it says we were co-buried, or we were what is it? we're on the cross with Christ, co-crucified, co-buried, and co-risen. And then in Ephesians 1, it says that we are co-heirs and that we are co-seated with Christ in heavenly places. So if we're co-seated, we have this like ascended life with Christ. So I I like to also think of myself as not just a worship leader, but as an ascension leader, to just bring people into the reality and the awareness of their true life that is hidden with Christ and God.
Something that you said that was very interesting when you were talking about staying at home because of COVID and seeking God, and then the creativity just flows. When you're seeking God and you're in his presence, it's amazing how, for people with or without creative minds, but especially the creative people in this world, how worship brings out that creativity. There's been times I've been in a church service during a worship part of the service, and I'll turn and grab a piece of paper, and my wife goes, "Oh no, here we go again." And I'm writing stuff down as fast as I can, because in that moment of true worship, that's where the creativity was flowing the greatest.
Yes. Yes. It's amazing. I feel like, that people study frequency and light and all this stuff and sound and how we all have like a frequency that we release. And I feel like when we're in worship, we're all coming together as one, releasing these frequencies, and it's like aligning to the Lord's frequency. And I feel like when we do that, we're like operating at this like level that we're totally all created to operate at, right? Where we're like, in science it says that there's been scientific studies on our brain. We only use like, what is it? Like, what is it? 10% of our brain or something like that. But when we're like enlightened in Christ and in that atmosphere, like all of our hemispheres are lighting up, and it's amazing the creativity and the swirls that happen from this place.
I often think of Colossians, which talks about the earnest of our inheritance, and we just get just a piece of our inheritance. And I think of worship the same way. Just at the most magnificent time of worship, in corporate worship, where I've been there and heard everyone singing and the music going, and what a wonderful time. That is just a glimpse of what it's going to be like when we all gather around his throne and worship him.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, I love that you brought that up. I have a song where it's about, like being in the throne room, and it's called Beckoning. And it came from a place of being in like a deep prayer, kind of like a meditation type prayer with the Lord. And just, I don't know if you've ever like had visions or see pictures when you pray, but sometimes I'm a very visual person and a visual learner, and I think the Lord knows that about me. So sometimes I'll see visions or pictures, and I was just picturing just being in the throne room, and the throne room was like this rock concert. Like everyone was like, yeah, holy, holy, it's all this energy. And I wrote a song about it, and in the chorus it just says, you surround me with all the saints, and I join in singing holy, 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 and in your presence praise is unending, and I join in singing holy, holy, holy. And so it is, we do have just glimpses, but it's amazing how when we do worship, we are doing it like with heaven and with the saints in the cloud of witnesses.
Sometimes in the midst of that worship, the only thing that stops us is these mortal bodies that we just say, "I'm so exhausted and I can't stand anymore and I can't sing anymore." Won't it be nice to be relieved of these bodies and to be able to worship through with him without having to be exhausted, without having my arms are tired. I can't hold them up anymore. My throat's so sore from singing. Oh, and to be able to stand in the presence of 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 the angels and all the saints to be what a glorious time that's going to be.
Oh, yes, it is. I know. Those Sunday afternoons, that was Sunday nap noons after the worship sets. I too cannot wait to not be exhausted anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially now in some many churches that have multiple services and those worship leaders have to do it 3-4 times in a weekend, So
God bless them.
yes. All right. Danielle, it has been a absolute pleasure to talk about worship and singing and songwriting. What I'm going to do is down below, I'm going to put information about you. Folks, watch for her new album coming out. Watch for the information for her songs. Keep track of what she's doing. If you want to know more about her songs, maybe have her sing at your church in the area. Let us know. Let her know, I should say. More important than that, everybody is listening to this. Pray for Danielle that God would continue to be used in the arts of music and singing and all the work that she's doing. That God would just continue to bless her. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for Morning Moments. I hope this has blessed you. Please pass it on to somebody else. Follow me on YouTube. Look at my other interviews, and keep coming back, if you would please, for some more Morning Moments.